I'm being told to move it along a little bit, so we are gonna go ahead and hand it over now to Leah for Yohane of the Parhelion.
Hello everyone. It's very hot here in the UK, but I'm doing my best here. So I'm actually one of the top runners for this game. I'm Leah, she, her. I'm actually one of the top runners for this game. I'm just filling in for the person who was supposed to learn this game unfortunately had to drop out. So I'm just taking their place and I'm going to show off this wonderful game to the best of my ability. I think there's a good bit to go through, but it's also quite a quick run. But there's a good bit I can explain during the run, so I'm just going to not hesitate any longer and get things started in 3, 2, 1, and go. So if you've never seen this game before, you might not actually know what it's about, but it's kind of a miracle that this game exists to begin with. It's a Metroidvania based on a spin-off of the Love Life series, which is an anime series. And yeah, it was announced as an April Fool's joke back in 2023. And yeah, kind of crazy that it exists to begin with, but it's turned out to be a really fun speed game. The main thing I'm doing in terms of movement is slide chaining. So normally a slide will die out after a little bit, but if you press the slide button in about a rhythm about every half second, then you can continually slide without breaking it. There is a tight window to do this. It's somewhere around like 5 frames-ish to get the slide chain, so it's not the easiest thing ever, but it's also not too bad. You can get quite good at it. It's a little bit more platforming here, and then we get into kind of the main event of the run. That's a musical score. That's a surprise tool I'll harvest later. So the main event of the run kind of is one of the big things about speedrunning in this game is that there are some segments in each area that are randomized. So as you go into these walk rooms, there are 2 main factors that are randomized, which are the number of rooms and also the room layouts themselves. Some rooms are better to get than others, and you can get between 2 and 5 rooms each time. This is the longest room in Sunken Temple, so not particularly thrilled by getting this one. I need to be really careful with my health here. Okay, wow. That did not take long. Okay, so I guess I already get to talk about the musical score. That's not intentional. Okay, at least that's the last room there. The gold portal indicates it's the last room. I would have liked to keep the musical score until the very end of the run, but I lost it in 2 minutes. That would be the soonest I've ever lost it, but that's fine. We can run without it. So, what the musical score does, it basically refills all your health, and it also means you get a critical hit every single attack, which do double damage. So we're going to take out this boss way more quickly than we should be able to. Yeah, I'm going to get a fake gold here. I killed that boss about like 5 seconds faster than I normally would because of that. But normally you would want to keep that until much later in the run to use it on a later segment. Take advantage of the crits.
Well, that's marathon luck for you, isn't it?
So we're just about done with Sunken Temple already. I'm going to have to go ahead and undo that gold later. For now though, while I'm traversing these areas, I'm breaking a lot of pots that are on my way, because there are a lot of items I'm looking out for. They serve various purposes. They're all used for crafting. But at the moment we're not really looking to craft anything for a little while. This second area, Grotto, is kind of, a lot of the time we just pass through it. It's the area that we see the most in the run, but yeah, generally it's kind of a hub for getting to other areas. And this is a save point, so these will also refill all your health, and you can actually return to them at any point from anywhere, which is really nice. That is a very nice roll there on the crab. The enemies in this game, and also your attacks, can really roll any amount of damage, and that's quite a lucky roll, getting only 15 on that hit from the crab. It can do up to 50, which is half your health at this point in the game. Looking at a Grotto here. And we've got our first sort of sequence break coming up. There aren't too many of them in the game, but this is the most major one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You should use about 16 guitars here. Get across. Yeah, 16 got me across. You are not supposed to be able to get that until you've done this area. But you can just do that. Stall yourself in the air with guitar attacks. And yeah, get to it much sooner. It saves about a minute to get that early. And that will let us traverse through water without floating on it. In this first boss here, we're making use of Chica, which is the partner we rescued back in Summer Temple, to destroy its shield. And that lets us get way more hits in. It's not the last we're going to be seeing of that guy. We fight him about 3 times total. This is quite an important room. These archers hit for quite a bit, and main thing here is I need to be careful of this poison. I'm intentionally not going for a slide chain there, because if you go early on a slide chain, if you mess up the timing that way, you'll jump out of it, because it's the same as the jump button. And that would have resulted in me jumping into the poison, which basically would have just meant a death. The poison would have taken all my health away from me before I get to the save point. Some save points are mandatory, like that one. We're going to return there later. Some of them are not. And one of the things that distinguishes the good from the great runners in this game is taking risks. In fact, taking risks is the most pivotal part of the run, really. The best players are those who can take the risks consistently and, well, yeah, not lose the run to them. In all these bosses, we're just alternating our attack, because each one of them has a cooldown, so if we alternate, then we don't have to worry about the cooldown at all. Second fight done now. It can be helpful to attack with the guitar first against these guys, because the guitar does more damage. Normally you'd have to kill the third one, but I messed up my platform a little bit. And I guess I should also explain what the category actually is. So all upgrades might sound confusing if you don't really know what it entails, but you can basically just treat this run as being any percent, kind of, because in fact the route for all upgrades is actually the exact same as any percent for the first about 50% of the run. It's only in the latter half that we break away from any percent and take a couple detours to get some extra items, which fulfill the all upgrades quota, and that also lets us do the ending section of the run a little differently.
What about the 60 FPS? I guess there's something tied to frame rate in this game?
Yes, the frame rate is quite important in this game, and we basically split the leaderboards for FPS because... Oh no, I'm really close to dying here. Oh no, it's not the last room. I have to be really careful here. Okay, this room's not the worst thing ever. I need to be there. Okay. Scarier than it needed to be. Okay, there we are. We're safe. Yes, the frame rate is quite an important part of the game. You can play at either 60 or 120 FPS. We split the boards for that. We also have a split for Switch, specifically Switch 1, because Switch runs at 60 FPS but has significantly slower loading times. But the important ones are 60 and 120, and 120, you basically move a little bit faster, maybe about 5% faster, something like that. We split the boards because not everyone can run 120, myself included, so I've always run on 60, and I have the 60 FPS world record for any percent, and formally in this category too. It's not just the movement speed that's different, it's also they kind of... It feels like they reprogrammed the game, kind of in 120, because some enemies also move more slowly in some areas, or they're positioned differently. Which means that they're not entirely compatible, but there are rough estimates for how much 120 saves to 60. At about 2 minutes, give or take, in any percent of all upgrades. A little bit more in all upgrades because there's more run for them to save time in. But yeah, about 2 minutes is the time save. This is a room where you really don't want to go early on any slide chains and get a jump, because you will almost certainly hit something if you jump out of a slide there. Volcano is kind of the first brutal area, relatively speaking. The enemies here are quite strong for how powerful we currently are. We are still using pretty much the most basic equipment, and we don't have a whole lot of firepower on our side, and we've also only got 100 health. Normally those guys only take 2 hits to kill, but if you're unlucky they can take 3. Warps. Honestly, I could have just damage boosted through that guy, I think. And similarly, I could have jumped over that one. This is quite a long room. There are some rooms that you really don't want to get them. This is kind of one of them. I think this is the longest room in Volcano. And not any luck with 2 rumors just yet. Oh, this one's a bit of a pain. This is a really tough room to do optimally. That was actually pretty good though. Now I'm going to go save here. You can skip the save point. This is one of the most... probably the best example of a save point that you can skip, but it's quite hard to skip it. See, I had over half health there, but I still opted to take it, just mostly for marathon safety, but also because there's quite a hard area to begin with. Second half of Volcano 1 hit. Oh, especially if you take a hit like that. That just did 40% of my health. Oh, and now I'm on... just like that. I would have died if I didn't take that save point. If I do happen to die, it means I can come back from that save point and not have to redo all of warps. I'm gonna be a bit careful here. There is one room at the end I'm a little worried about here now. Jump up to wall that guy up. That guy will hit like a truck even if you do have a lot of health. It's this second to last room coming up, a bit worried about. Might die here. Ooh. Yikes. It's really close, but I made it through.
Nice.
That is a strategy that I came up with, doing that sort of neutral attack there in that room. Because that stops you ascending, and if you do it just right, then you can actually make it through that room damageless, and save a little bit. It's not often that I actually have to worry about taking damage in that specific room, so I actually kind of don't know the normal damageless backup for that, but what I have seems to work well. I also didn't mention this in Volcano, but those axe guys are quite important. There is a drop, about a 50% chance from them that I'm looking out for. And I've got one of them so far. I need 3 of them as I go into the next area. Those aiming lenses, along with 2 other items, which I'm honestly not sure if I've gotten, they can create a really useful optional accessory that isn't technically required, but can be really helpful if I do get it. Especially considering I've lost my musical score already. The 2 partners we have at the moment, Kanan and Chica, they're both kind of situational. We don't really use them in combat very much, but our later partners are going to be a lot more useful. And the wolf we've had from the beginning is Lilaps, and she just functions as a very useful, just a neutral attack that costs no DP. DP being kind of our special points. A really nice mechanic in this game is that you don't become unable to use attacks if you run out of DP, rather it starts taking it from your HP instead. And it won't actually kill you, it will just take you down to 1 HP. Basically meaning that you can attack as much as you want as long as you don't take a hit. Oh. A little bit confused there. Yeah. Offense Talisman to increase my attack power against this guy. This is one of the more fun boss fights in this game. It's definitely one of the longer boss fights too. A lot of the related ones we just kind of shred with the late game gear we have, but this is one of the only ones that we really have to like knuckle down and get a lot of those melee hits in. Oh, yikes. Okay. I need to be really careful in the next area. I did buy 2 potions, 2 healing potions, when I went to that shopping trip, but I still need to be really careful in the next area. Oh yeah, she says no problemo instead of no problemo. Don't worry about it too much. I'm sorry if I've ruined this game for you. Okay, we're in the clear. Save point right here. This is another one you can technically skip, but it only saves like 3 or 4 seconds to skip it. So we've just unlocked Daya, who is basically just Lilaps but better. I need to be really careful behind that guy, that stuff will freeze me. Daya is basically Lilaps but better, in most cases. She does use DP, but it's a very negligible amount of DP. And yeah, she attacks more quickly, can do multi-hit, and she also deals more damage. The one advantage that Lilaps does still have is that she has larger range compared to Daya, like quite a bit. She can hit all around us. Oh, oops, accidentally hit the slide button. Okay, good, I've got 2 Great Axe Fragments. That's the item I'm looking out for from these guys. I don't have 3, but I can play the rest of the section for now without worrying about it. There is one more of those guys on the path that I will have to kill. So maybe I'll get one from him. Oh, that is not Lilaps. That's an example of how we use Lilaps still. Oh, this room. Okay, can I get the fast round? No, I can't.
Oof.
Okay, the nearest save point is not that far away. That is a really rough room to get. You can do it fast like that, but it's kind of one mistake and you're dead. But yeah, nearest save point's right there. And hey, maybe I'll get a Great Axe Fragment here. Oops, there we go. Okay, we can skip this guy now. Right, let's try that again. With any luck, we won't get that room again.
Pray to RNGesus.
Yeah. This is quite a long room. It's not too difficult. Still not the last one. I've not had a single 2-roomer yet in this run. We don't really know what exactly the odds are, but you'd assume it's about 1 in 4. Give or take. This room is not particularly fun. There's a guy right there. I do think I do have a lot of the other drop I need though, which is quite nice. So I did mention Great Axe Fragments, but there's also another drop I'm looking for since pretty much the beginning, which is Tide Lights. And I need 5 of those. I think I've already got all 5. Quite early to get all. Lights.
Well, you definitely just got one there.
Yeah, I think I already have 5. Yeah, I do. I have 7. Wow, okay. Let's also craft another. Oh nice, that is the other item we're looking for. That's what we needed the aiming lenses for, the analytic spectacles. That will increase our crit rate and is also... This also gives us a lot of extra health, despite being mostly an attacking item. So we're actually not doing...
the wall jump item.
I would love to have this luck in my actual PvP-based runs. Highlights can be so elusive, and I've gotten 9 before the end of this area. You technically don't need to have Buster Sword this early, but it's helpful. Like, kind of the latest you need to get Buster Sword is towards the end of this section that I'm currently in. But yeah, 9 highlights. Cool. Now that I have the spectacles, I'm in a better position for this room. The fastest way to deal with these guys is just to damage boost through them. I could die for the next hit, so I'll use a potion. You kind of want to keep 1 potion in reserve for that. Unfortunate that there's not really a better way to deal with that. But yeah, I've already got my Buster Sword and I've got my spectacles too, so I'm in a pretty good position for this boss. And I'm also going to use my offense talisman here. The normal strat, quote-unquote, for this boss is to use the talisman a bit later. Yikes. You'd use the talisman here because this boss is split into this phase and kind of the Reaper phase he was in. And you can only deal true damage to him when he's in the core phase. But I've started doing it as soon as the fight begins, because I think it's a little bit faster. Yeah, that allowed me to 2-cycle him. Well, I would have 2-cycled
nice
if I hadn't done that, but nice. The 2-cycle is what you really want to get there, and it's a lot easier if you have the analytic spectacles. Get those crit hits in. I'm going to go here to get our next partner. Maru, best girl. And we're going to go back to the Fortune Parlor, which is kind of the hub where you buy the potions. There's another reason why we go back here, and that is so we can basically get the character we just rescued to give us a quest. and that quest will then cause an item to appear in the dungeon. So we're going to go pick up Hanamari's item now, because it's really useful. We do have to pick up all of them, that's the all upgrades part of this run, but this one is so good we want it right now. Do a little shot. I did not mean to buy 3 of those, but that actually won't be a problem. So we go back to Volcano now, this save point that we grabbed earlier. And now we're considerably stronger than when we were first there, so not feeling so concerned. This is a nice pure movement route. The movement in this game is kind of secondary to actually the luck and the risks you take, but it still feels nice to move around in this game. Oh, nice. It's really difficult to actually get past that crowd with no damage on 60 FPS. On 120 FPS with the, I'm actually going to take the save point. It's going to be too risky here, but on 120 FPS it's a lot easier to get past that crowd because of the slower enemies. This is a very normal laptop, don't worry about what's happening. She's very good with technology. So the laptop is basically the single strongest attack in the game, and that's why we want it. Use it for most of the boss fights from here. Oh, he's still not dead. You can kind of get a quick kill on this boss, but it's kind of luck-based and also kind of janky. You need to kind of get the explosion so that a bunch of fireballs hit it, because that causes the hitbox to reactivate. And if it goes perfectly, then it will pretty much activate the explosion hitbox a bunch of times all at once and instantly kill him. But we did not get that. But that's... You can never really expect to get it. It just kind of happens. It kind of depends on the attack pattern you get. And well, that's 7 done. We're going to go into our 6th area, the trees. My personal favourite.
I finally figured it out. I apologize for interrupting. Those save points look like that bottle of tequila with the bell on top. Sorry. Little ADHD moment for you there.
This route I'm doing here is sort of a newer route. Oh, yikes. Okay, actually, I'm not going to do that now, because I took poison. That poison will slowly kill me. The route I was doing was sort of a newer route, where normally you go up and grab that save point. Kind of after finishing Shipwreck, you go up to here, grab that save point, and then do the laptop and the volcano and all of that. But it's become a thing recently to instead do Sea of Trees in one go. And the benefit that has is that you don't have to do Sea of Trees immediately after the Reaper boss fight, where you will probably have low HP. And it also technically saves 1 second if you do it optimally. Oh, got a little backwards push there. That happens there sometimes. I don't know why it happens, and it doesn't really have any implications. It just looks really weird. You can skip pretty much a big puzzle you're supposed to do there. Back to going to the warp rooms. Sea of Trees warps are some of the most polarizing in the game. You have some really, really quick ones and some really, really long ones here. This is one of the really long ones.
Marathon luck.
Shout out to really, really long thumb. Oh, there's not a guy up there. This one's not too bad. Ooh, low roll. Still no 2 rumors yet. Room RNG has been lackluster, but the drop RNG has been very good. Okay, 3 rumors, not too bad. Back to the parlor here. And that's because we also went and activated Dia's quest at the same time we activated Hanamaru's. And that basically, that trip back there is because you also have to return to the parlor after you get the item to fully unlock the kind of upgraded ability. And Dia's upgrade is also very useful. So Dia and Hanamaru are the best characters for this run. And they also happen to be 2 of my favourite characters in Love Live. Oh, I do not want to attack now. Which is really convenient. This bike can be used much more than the laptop to the point that it can be spammed, and it deals almost as much damage. Can use another talisman on the boss. You can get kind of into a rhythm of using the bike and Buster Sword. Buster Sword's really nice because it's basically the best weapon in the game, but you can get it really early on. Get some cheeky hits in there. And yeah, just one more Buster Sword. Kind of what you want to do in these boss fights is seek out as many opportunities as you can to attack, and that is a really good one for it. Right there. The fastest way to do that boss, or kind of the fastest you can kill that boss, is before it even starts doing that big attack where it goes across the screen. Which saves about 10 seconds if you can get it, but it's quite rare. So we've just rescued our 6th partner, Yo. I shouldn't have walked back there, I think. I think I could have just navigated to the map more quickly, but that's fine. Our 6th partner, Yo, and she has our best movement option in the game now. Namely, this cannon. It just shoots us horizontally until we hit something. And it's really fast in a lot of rooms. You can also use it to skip some things, like right here. This is quite a tight shot. There's no setup for this. Oh, there we go, so try. You can also do this room way faster. Go right over the top of these guys. This is also kind of a sequence where you're meant to go here much later in the game, come round from the top, but you can just do that. And we've done that, and now we have Yo's upgrade, which is another one of the best upgrades in the game, but it's also one that we never get in any percent. So this is kind of all upgrades exclusive content here. The upgraded cannon she's given us will also allow us to pass through enemies and pretty much anything that can damage us, which is really nice and kind of overpowered. Like that. Little quick detour here to one of the other upgrades we need. This is another one we don't get in any percent. In fact, in any percent, we only get Hanamaru and Dia's upgrades, so the laptop and the bike. Those are the only ones we ever need in any percent, but yeah, goal of this category is to pick up all of them. And post Sea of Trees is... pretty much as soon as Sea of Trees is finished is when the routes actually start diverging. They're the exact same until that point. And where upgraded Yo really shines is in these warp rooms, because so many of them can be cleared with just a really simple, quick shot. so much better than the regular version, which is already really good. Very quick warp rooms there. Auto warp rooms are very fast usually. This is kind of less a low-level area, but we're coming to it with the best weapon in the game, and also the best movement option in the game. And that's also kind of true for our next area. Whoops, wrong button. Our next area, Coral Hill, is something we're supposed to do earlier in the game, arguably before Shipwreck even, but if we do it now, it's way faster. Save point down here. I'm gonna grab it just because I need to come back here later. That's also one that you don't need in any percent, that's just so we can grab an upgrade later. And you might have noticed we don't actually need to touch the save point to be able to return to it later, we just have to enter the room. Here's another fun yo shot. First try.
Nice.
There is a setup for that one, and thankfully the difficult one I mentioned, the Shipwreck, is not in any percent. That one is in any percent, but that setup makes it really consistent if you know what you're doing. And yeah, this is a pretty easy section, and also the one with the most pure movement run. Not a lot of the other sections are very movement-based, but this one is the exception. There are probably a billion other places you could use Yo as well, that we haven't discovered yet. It used to be that, back when the game was less optimized, we used to kind of discover a new place to use it like every other run, but now our strategies are more set in stone. Just like that, we're up to this boss now. Now I would not normally use a talisman here. Some players like to use a talisman on this boss. I never normally do that, but because I accidentally bought an extra one and I have the money to justify that, I'm going to use one. So I can get this boss over a bit more quickly. And just like that, we're killing it way more quickly than I normally do.
Nice fight.
Yeah, depending on the attacks that boss does, it can be kind of scary, but that is, I would say, one of the easiest bosses in the run. There's also sometimes you have a streak of where you just seem to keep losing runs to that boss sometimes. Because normally when you're going for a PB attempt at high level, it's pretty much runs over if you lose your musical score, which we lost in the very first area in the game.
Yeah,
but normally we are trying to keep that the whole run.
And then I guess what, use it for the final boss?
Yeah, pretty much use it at the very end of the game. It's very, very fast if you do that. And that fight was a case where another case where we got down to 1 HP and 0 DP. But because of the really nice mechanic that you then actually die if you lose all your HP and DP, or go down to 1 HP and no DP, we can just keep basically just going on with that boss, even though we die in one hit. But as long as you don't get hit, you can just do as much as you want. It is arguably the single best mechanic in the game. It allows for so much creative stuff.
Only hit point that matters is the last one.
Yeah. Oh, he got hit. You technically shouldn't be using upgraded Yo there, you could just boost through those guys because they don't really do any damage to you at this point in the game, but yeah. Coming up to one of our last sections of warps here, we still have not had a 2-roomer in this run. quite like one. Oh! There we are. I summoned it. Go into the save point here that we don't take at any %. Because we've just rescued Ruby at the end of Coral Hill, and we need to get her item. And her item is in this area, Crystalline Grotto. Oh my. Now you could go down there, but it actually is faster to climb back up and then go through here. It looks a little counterintuitive, but it is faster. This right here is a room where upgraded gear is really nice compared to any %. You have to kind of mess around with using Dire Bike and a whole bunch of things in that room in any %, but you can just upgrade it all the way through it in all upgrades. Ooh, don't get caught. You get hit for pretty big damage if that crystal gets you. And there is a save point to my left there, but you can just skip it. Quite comfortably so. So going back to the Dire Bike and Buster Sword for this boss. Trying to get 4 hits of each weapon in these 2 caves here. After that's a bit more freestyle. Get 2 here, send off another Dire Bike, and then make sure I don't get hit here. And if it's close to you, you can get a sneaky Buster Sword again, but should be dying any second now. Yeah. If it doesn't die in those first 2 hits in that 4th phase, then I will let myself drop to the ground first and then go back up. Because those platforms will... Because I'm on 1 HP, those platforms will kill me if they touch me. So going back to the parlor again, we've just rescued our final partner, Mari. And we need her quest. Also returning Ruby's item, because we need Ruby's item to get to Mari's item. And now we're going to make a little quick series of detours here to pick up the upgrades that we didn't quite get. So the first one of them is a volcano. Down here. Kind of a smart strategy here where you can wait for Hanamara to go off screen and then is Yo. Oh right, he's Yo for this room. Waiting for Hanamara to go off screen because you can only have one partner out at a time, so if she goes off screen she just yeah, you can use another partner. These are all very, very quick detours. In fact, this is probably the longest of them. Just like that, we now have Kanon's item. Unfortunately, this one's never very useful. Remembering where to go, I've like not played this game in a little while. And this is why we needed to get that save point at the beginning of Coral Hill, despite being on full health. Now get to Mari's item. You can use that stone in the background as a visual cue for that shot there. And this is also why we needed Ruby's item, because we needed this. I don't know how that works. I don't know how she takes out cotton candy and it turns into a thing that can eat anything. Best not to think about it. She kind of has a thing for cotton candy. Now you can do a sneaky Yo shot here, but it's quite difficult and saves barely any time, so it's not really worth it. And just like that, we actually have all the character upgrades now. So, making our trip to our final dungeon now. After beating all... You can come here at any point in the game, but it only opens up after you've beaten all the previous bosses. So this is Infernal Altar. There is one more item we're looking out for while we're here. And we can get it from any of these pots. We need 2 of them by the time we reach the end of the dungeon, so the warp segments, because we can't get any of them after we enter the warp segments. There's one, Orichalcum. For safety, we can take this save point up here, so that if we don't get the 2 Orichalcums, we can come back and farm it from a bit more. But yes, we need one more Orichalcum. You can use Diabike to break a bunch of these pots on your way. And also Upgraded just breaks pots automatically, which is really nice. There we are. Cool. Really good item drop with this run. Too bad my room luck has been lackluster. Oh, whoops, I was meant to use Upgraded Yo there. That should be not the worst thing ever. Oh, 3 Orichalcums. Wait a little bit, because there's some ice gas over there that will freeze us as soon as we touch it. Here's the boulders from Ruins, the very beginning of the game. It's funny how little damage they do for being massive boulders. Because I've already got the items I need, I don't need to worry about the pots in this room, and I can fast cycle that ice gas there. Switch back to Reaper quickly. One of the hardest things to learn about this game is just being quick with your character switches, knowing exactly when you're going to need to use every character, because the way you switch is, or at least the way I have it mapped, is I have it mapped to the shoulder buttons to basically cycle between each of the partners. Oh, yikes. Okay, I got confused. That's fine. I got very confused because I switched to the wrong character. That's exactly what I was talking about. So I've hit that black gas, which prevents me from using any of my partners. I do need to wait for that to wear off, but it shouldn't take too long. Yeah. I'm a little bit worried about my health, so I'm probably going to pop one of my health potions in this next segment, because these warps can be quite deadly. I'm going to do that right now. You can phase through those guys, kind of. They don't really get a hitbox until they're fully fire. Upgraded Yo is a godsend in these rooms. Look at how easy that is. This is a really long room. It's actually not that long. I'm confusing it for a different room. Oh, still not done. Oh, we got into the full 5 rooms. Ugh. I did not think that through. Okay. I do have to redo that whole dungeon now, but... yeah. I was gonna get 5 rooms there. Annoyingly, there's only one save point in Infernal Altar. But I can deal with that. Just gotta make sort of a backtrack here. Oh yes, I'm getting a bit of characters talking to me. Oh, not there. We'll still get sub-hour with this run, easily. And an hour is generally my estimate for all upgrades. The trip back will be fairly quick since we're not worrying about getting any extra items. In fact, this will just mean we have even more money, so we can really spend a lot on potions when we're going into the final section. Ooh, a little bit late there. Wasn't quite sure if I was going to make it past that ice there, so thankfully upgraded Yo can completely defy the laws of physics and go right through it unharmed. Alright. So it was this room that set me up, that kind of set me up for failure earlier by not quite going right, so we're going to do it better this time. Ah yes, I don't need to use Calm. Okay, we got more health this time. And hopefully we're going to have better luck and not get 5 rooms. 5 rooms in Altar is possibly the worst thing that can happen. Because in any percent they're all really difficult rooms. Can't cheese them like this. And it's the last major RNG point in the run. It's kind of a slap in the face. Oh no. Deathly careful here. Phew, that's the last room. You're in the clear. I wanted to use Diabike at one point there, but I ended up accidentally using Yo instead. I believe I should already have enough money. Oh yes, I've got enough money for it. I've just bought the wrong thing. I actually need to go back and farm a little bit. Luckily, the best money farming spot in the game is right here. For maximum safety, I'm going to farm it like 5 or 6 times. Don't worry, we're still going to get sub-hour. Basically, when you touch a save point, any pots you've broken will respawn. Do it one more time for good luck. I just realised I bought defense talismans instead of offense talismans. That won't help. There. Need 1 of each talisman, maybe 2 for good luck, because we did lose our musical score. Buy some nice clean items. And now we're ready. Let's get going. And we'll soon see what we need in the Orichalcum for. I'm not going to forget to craft it. Imagine forgetting to craft it. Do I need to... You know what? Spectacle Define. That is the hot-blooded bell we've just crafted. Very useful item. It is essentially the ultimate glass cannon item, because we will deal double damage now. We will also take double damage. So, very easy to die, but it's also very easy to kill things. And now that that's done, we are heading out of Infernal Altar into the final part of the game. I've just realised the timing of this run, so in the Love Live franchise, so that name Aqua Memoria, in Love Live, the idol group Aqua, which all of the characters are in this game, they're all of our partners, and Yohane herself, they are disbanding today. They are having their final live concert today, after about 10 years of existing. The timing of this run being the same time as that, I hadn't even considered it, but that is a spooky coincidence. And the name Aqua Memoria really kind of lends to that.
that was a fast fight.
Yeah. We're basically fighting all of the guys again, but we are now, like, the strongest thing on Earth. So they go down really quickly. Also, this is the 4th time we're fighting with this guy. Statistically, this guy makes up, like, more than 20% of the fights in the boss fights in the game. I've been saying this guy a lot because they really don't have names. The bosses and the enemies. We, like, have names that we give them, but they don't have official names in any way. So we really just tend to call everything the guy. Very nice quick kill there. So normally we would actually use our musical score right there. We would intentionally die there, and then use our musical score as a result of that. And then we would use that to shred through the rest of the boss rush. But instead we're going to have to make do without, but it's still not too bad. But you can imagine if you do have the musical score, you'd save about 45 seconds from being able to blitz through all these boss fights. Oh. That is a danger attack. You can mostly just crouch and keep hitting this one, but if it does that attack it did there, like that, you do need to get back. That's already 6 of the bosses done, but 3 more in the boss rush portion. Ooh, getting this attack early. Oh, too early. That's quite far to the right of the arena there. And next up we're going to be fighting Cthulhu again, the guy we just fought like 4 minutes ago. I should mention that casually Cthulhu is like the hardest thing ever. It's a really, really rough boss casually, if you don't know any speed tech. But in speedrunning it's the biggest pushover. Can still kill you in 1 or 2 ways, but literally just crouch and spam your attacks and you are like that. I used an EX offense talisman there. And I actually did not need to use any of the healing items I got, which is cool. So the run's going to end in about 45 seconds from now. We're going up to the final boss. Going to use our trusty friend Hanamaru. I'm going to kill this the any % way because it has the potential to be faster and it's also more cool looking. I did not mean to do that. Oh dear. Not a good start. I instinctively used my attack immediately. I've got to wait for Hanamaru to cool down now. So Prime Offense Talisman is the strongest talisman in the game. And hopefully time in... that's time. That was really sudden. Prime Offense Talisman plus Laptop destroys that boss really quickly, depending on how lucky you get with your rolls. I was so busy explaining it that... yeah. That's the end of the game.
Fantastic run.
Yeah, it was really, like... a lot of things went wrong there. I died twice, and I lost my score very, very early. I did get very good drop RNG, though, and I at least got sub-hour, which is generally my estimate for this category. I do struggle a little bit more with all upgrades because I just don't run it as much. The route's a little bit more foreign to me. And I've also not played this game in a couple months. Kind of relearning this on short notice, but no, that was alright. It was good enough. I showed off the important stuff, and yeah, hopefully I've got my actual Speedromizer run tomorrow, which I'm feeling conflicted about, but yeah, if you want to see me do that, then I will be back tomorrow night around the same time, I think. And yeah, I think...
Or Chameleon Twist.
Yes. And if this
Estimating
game
that'll
did
be
interest
around
you,
1:15 tomorrow.
yeah. And if this game did interest you in any way, then there is a free demo on Steam, which is a really, really easy run to get into. It's about a 10-minute speed run. And the full game's not that expensive either. It tends to go on sale quite often. So yeah, I think this is one of my favourite speed games. It's definitely a very underrated one, and I would love for it to get into more marathons soon, maybe even an in-person one. We've tried our luck with many in-person marathons but not been successful yet, but eventually it will happen. But yeah, that's all I have to say, and I'll hand it back over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Leah. Great run. All right. We are pretty much at schedule here, so we're going to try and move this along a little bit. I'll go ahead and cue up the ad break for the next run, and then we will come back to Broforce with Akuretaki. Roger. Okay. Apparently I was muted, so let's try this one more time. Moving on here, trying to stick on schedule, and it's even harder when the host doesn't unmute his microphone. But I should be live now.